Good evening. The world is on edge tonight. President Donald Trump has declared that a U.S. military land action in Venezuela is coming very soon. He made this announcement from the White House lawn, sending shockwaves across the globe. Diplomatic channels are buzzing, world leaders scrambling to grasp the implications. Trump stated, "We have to stop the poison. These are bad people, drug traffickers of the highest order, flooding our country with drugs. We've hit them on the sea. Now we're going to hit them on the land. We are going in." This marks a dramatic escalation, moving beyond sanctions and blockades to direct ground intervention. The president frames this as a necessary police action, vital for American national security, focusing on narco-trafficking. For years, military action in Venezuela was a last resort. Now that last resort is here. Trump's speech was short on details, no timeline, no force size, but his intent was clear: swift, decisive action. You're going to see something you haven't seen in a long time. We have the greatest military on earth, and we are going to use it to protect our people. The announcement has sparked a firestorm of questions. Is Congress on board? Have allies been consulted? What intelligence triggered this move? Critics call it reckless, fearing a long, bloody conflict. Supporters praise Trump's strength, seeing it as a step to dismantle a corrupt regime. Tonight, November 30th, 2025, the path forward is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the drums of war are beating louder than ever before. The president's words follow weeks of intense U.S. military activity in the Caribbean. U.S. Navy destroyers and Coast Guard cutters have intercepted vessels suspected of smuggling narcotics from Venezuela. These operations have been aggressive and deadly. Pentagon reports confirm recent strikes on go-fast boats, allegedly part of a sophisticated drug network tied to Venezuelan officials. The Caribbean has become a theater of conflict, with over 80 people killed in the past month. The official narrative? These were armed traffickers posing a direct threat. But international observers and human rights groups question the evidence and demand transparency. Some suggest these boats could have been fishermen or migrants fleeing Venezuela's crisis. The strikes have established American military dominance in the region, setting the stage for a larger intervention. These naval actions were a clear prelude to today's announcement, a first phase in a broader strategy. By controlling the sea lanes, the U.S. projected power and tested Venezuela's military response. Each strike, reported nightly, built a case for further action and softened public opinion. Now, with Trump's declaration, the conflict is poised to move from the Caribbean waters to Venezuelan soil. To understand the gravity of this moment, we turn to Dr. Elena Rojas, historian of U.S.-Latin American relations. Dr. Rojas, how seriously should we take the president's language? Dr. Rojas, we must take it very seriously. When a U.S. president says, "We are going in," after a massive military buildup, it's not a bluff. This is the culmination of an aggressive policy. Rhetoric has built for months, now reaching its peak. The strategy hasn't shifted, it's accelerated. First, designating Venezuelan leaders as narco-traffickers. Second, the naval blockade. Now, the final step. The timing likely combines new intelligence, opportunity, and domestic politics. Framing this as a counter-narcotics operation is a powerful justification for the public. The scale of the U.S. military presence is unprecedented for this region in the 21st century. Multiple carrier strike groups, thousands of Marines, bombers in Colombia and Florida. This force is larger than that used in Panama in 1989, more comparable to the Iraq War buildup. It's designed for a state-on-state war, not a simple police action. The stated goal is to stop drug traffickers. The unstated goal is regime change. By targeting leadership under the guise of a drug war, the administration aims to decapitate the government and military command. History warns such interventions are risky, often destabilizing regions for decades. The path ahead is fraught with peril. The president's words are backed by an overwhelming display of military might. A steel ring is closing around Venezuela. U.S. Southern Command has moved unprecedented assets into the region. 2 full aircraft carrier strike groups, the USS Gerald R. Ford and USS George Washington, now patrol the Caribbean. Each carrier, with its air wing and protective fleet, can project power deep into Venezuela. An amphibious ready group led by the USS America, with over 2,000 Marines, is positioned for rapid assault. These troops are trained for beach landings and seizing key sites in the opening hours. U.S. Air Force bombers and fighter squadrons have been moved to Colombia, Florida, and Puerto Rico, within striking distance of Caracas. This air power is designed to achieve air superiority quickly, targeting air defenses and command centers. Over 40,000 U.S. personnel are now in the region, including special operations forces. The logistical effort is immense, with a constant stream of transport planes and supply ships. This is not a force for a limited strike. It's assembled for a full-scale invasion and potential occupation. The steel ring is in place, tightening by the hour. A critical piece is a legal designation made earlier this year. The U.S. State Department labeled key Venezuelan leaders as part of a foreign terrorist organization. This was a calculated legal move, shifting the conflict into the framework of the global war on terror. It gives the president expanded powers to use military force, often with less congressional oversight. The administration argues it's not attacking Venezuela, but a terrorist entity within it. This legal distinction allows for swift, decisive action, precision strikes, special operations, and targeting leadership. Critics warn this sets a dangerous precedent, blurring lines between counterterrorism and conventional war. The UN and US allies have expressed concern, fearing a flimsy legal pretext for war. Despite objections, the White House stands firm. The FTO designation is the key that unlocks military action. Inside Venezuela, tension is everywhere. The American military buildup has created anxiety and fear in Caracas and beyond. The threat of war hangs over daily life. Streets are quieter, families separated, travel disrupted. Many are fleeing cities or stockpiling essentials, straining an already fragile economy. Schools see attendance drop, businesses cut hours, and rumors of troop movements fuel panic. There's deep distrust of both the Venezuelan government and US news. For many, this is the culmination of years of crisis, economic collapse, political turmoil, and now the prospect of war. Some hope intervention ends their suffering, others fear more destruction. Tonight, nearly 30 million Venezuelans wait, caught between a government they don't trust and a foreign power preparing to strike. To analyze the military dimensions, we're joined by retired General Mark Hertling. General, what does boots on the ground mean here? General Hertling: it likely means targeted special operations, not a massive invasion. Elite teams would gather intelligence, link with opposition, and target high-value individuals. Next, rapid assaults by Marines and airborne troops would seize key locations: airports, ports, government buildings. The goal: paralyze the regime's command and control, supported by a massive air campaign. Risks are immense. The Venezuelan military, while outmatched, could resist, especially in urban areas, leading to bloody conflict. Urban warfare negates many US advantages and could cause heavy casualties. The biggest risk is the aftermath: power vacuums, rival factions, and a long, costly nation-building mission. Winning the war is one thing, winning the peace is much harder. The 1989 U.S. invasion of Panama is often cited as a model for Venezuela. In Panama, 27,000 U.S. troops ousted Noriega in a swift operation. But Venezuela is not Panama. Venezuela's population is nearly 30 million, its geography vast and complex. The Venezuelan military is much larger and better equipped than Panama's was. Advanced Russian and Chinese weapons and hundreds of thousands in reserve and militias make for a formidable force. A U.S. invasion could trigger a powerful nationalist backlash, fueling a long insurgency. The idea of a quick, clean operation is a dangerous fantasy. The reality would likely be far more complex and violent. As November 30th, 2025 ends, the world watches Venezuela with fear and anticipation. The situation is fluid. Trump's declaration has set the stage, but the final order hasn't been given. Diplomatic efforts are frantic. The UN Security Council will hold an emergency session. U.S. allies urge restraint. Regional powers brace for spillover. Russia and China, with deep ties to Venezuela, have condemned U.S. threats. Their next move is unknown. The coming days are critical. The world watches for any sign of U.S. military movement or further statements. Millions in Venezuela remain trapped in fear and suspense. The decision to launch a full-scale land action rests with one man. This is more than a regional dispute, it's a test of the international order, with risks of catastrophe and prolonged war. The stakes could not be higher for Venezuela, the US, and the world. We will continue to follow this story as it develops.